said it was going to spend $100 billion in America because it's going to be less costly for them to build their manufacturing facilities here instead of having them elsewhere in the world where they're going to be tariffed. So 100 billion. So Apple was up today, Tesla was up today, and these are, I think, dead cat bounces. Right? So it's not gonna last much longer. Now, will it go down all at once? Have we hit the high? I think we've hit the high. Now it could go a little bit higher, because that's what happens usually. It's a huge fake out, and sometimes. Now this is Cambone, Daniela Cambone show. She's got some great people on, and so we're going to see pretty much all the way back to 1929, the dot-com bust, and all these different bloodbaths that are market bloodbath ahead as new tariffs hit. So and is Trump doing that on purpose? Yes, I believe so. Trump is doing these tariffs to destroy this facade economy. So this is Gareth Soloway, and he does excellent technical stuff. Now watch what he comes up with.
Logarithmic view. And remember, logarithmic puts it in perspective of percentages versus dollars. So it allows us to go back in history quite a bit more. And if we take a look here, we can go to the 1929 highs. We take the high just before the Great Depression. We connected through this high of the dot-com bubble in 2000. And look at what this trend line tells us. We basically are right into that trend line right there. Again, let me just adjust it slightly here. But essentially, we're at the high end of the band that marked the major collapse of the Great Depression and the dot-com collapse. And that, to me, is a warning sign, saying that the valuations were now 2 standard deviations above the norm. You have to be here because we could be on the precipice of a major, let's say, 30, 40, 50% decline in the stock market like we saw in the dot-com collapse.
All right, let's move on to the dollar now. We know this administration wants the lower dollar. Are they going to get?
Now, another thing that I've seen where there are people that do the economy that are pretty savvy. I don't know if some of these people are like they take the negative road on Trump because there's people that are negative, the Trump derangement syndrome type, so they're trying to appeal to them or something. But that basically the woman that was in charge of the not GDP but the jobs. So the jobs count. So some people are saying that Trump is like firing her because he's not getting the numbers that he wanted. Come on, guys. So she basically, for 3 months in a row, has said that the jobs numbers were very high. And that put the Federal Reserve on pause. So I think she was working for the deep state, because we know that the Federal Reserve is the deep state, right? So she's probably being paid, manipulated, and it was maybe always part of the deep state. I don't know. But she was basically inflating those numbers. So the Fed, the deep state, was on pause because we needed those rates to go down. When those rates go down, the dollar goes down, like they were just getting ready to talk about. So Trump wants the dollar to go down because it'll actually stimulate things in the right direction that he wants. And some people argue that that's not the case, and some argue that it is. I say that it is. All right, it's a positive, especially because silver will rocket. So I wanted to go up. It's been manipulated and suppressed for so long. Today it was up. It went over $38. It's up over $38 now. So it only has like $1.40 or something like that before it hits the multi-year high. And it has, I don't know, very, very short period of time before it goes beyond its all-time high. Now, if you look at the like dollar cost of its all-time high and you put in the you put in the inflation rate, we should be looking at like $85, $100 in silver. And the same thing with gold. Gold should be a lot higher too when you put in the inflation numbers. So if you take more off the dollar, then you're going to have silver and gold go up more. And you're going to have the stock market. Normally, it goes up when the dollar goes down. But that 10-year, the 10-year, is it going to like that? I don't think so. So the 10-year is probably going to go up higher rate. We'll see. I don't know. But the 10-year, the American 10-year and the Japanese 10-year, those are the ones you really want to watch. The Japanese 10-year is pretty much close to its all-time high, where the last time it did that, we saw stock market crash, and then Japanese yen trade thing. And then they turned it around. Somebody went in there and bought it, and it just turned around. That's the way they do these things. So I don't think it's going to be very long before the Fed comes in and cuts rates. They may do an emergency cut in rates now because they got found out that they were lying about the numbers for the jobs. So those job numbers were absolutely horrific. Now, a lot of people want to go, look, that's Trump's fault. No. That is, of course, the prior presidents always like to blame, or the current presidents like to blame the prior presidents. Now we know that the Biden administration was manipulating everything, and he was by far the worst president, even worse than Jimmy Carter, who was the worst president before him, Jimmy Carter's also a Democrat. And he destroyed the economy. All right. Inflation went to the moon. Inflation went to the moon again. And then they started cutting rates and the stock market crashed. So we may get a bounce on the stock market. We may see it bump its head on that long-term trend line like Gareth Soloway was showing on the Danielle Gambone show. And then it's going to turn down because that's what usually happens. When the Fed cuts, that's when, because everybody's going to go, oh, the economy's bad. The economy has been bad for a very long time. Housing prices are starting to crater, and they're going to crater a lot more because the inventory is through the roof. We've already seen an absolute destruction in commercial real estate. So just like several years ago, when I was in this magnificent condo, billionaire's condo in Miami, and they were telling me that it's the high-end real estate is getting slaughtered, and that was many years ago. And I was like, okay, well, that's going to work its way down because it always does. And sure enough, it is working its way down now. It takes time. These things take time because there's a lot of manipulation. We had BlackRock and a lot of other investors come in and buy homes up and then, flip them at higher prices. They probably bought them themselves again at higher prices. And that artificially kept prices high throughout the United States and probably the world as well. Because they have massive amount. They're the number one company in the world, They have tremendous amounts of money. They can do whatever they want, and they do. But that's one of the things they were doing. They were keeping the prices of homes inflated while the interest rates are super high. So the average person, now I think it used to be, if you go back decades and decades and decades, the average, homeowner, first-time homeowner is like 25, 29, whatever it was. All right. Now it's up around